So you left that meeting what?
Just angry, and I was mostly done. Well, I still wanted to go to church. And so the next time we went to church, I think maybe we had a vacation in between or something, but it was ward conference. And so we had our stake president and the whole full stake presidency and all the stake leaders there. And the two songs that they chose were Praise to the Man and Oh, How Lovely Was the Morning.
Oh, First Vision and
Yes.
Joseph Smith Worship, right?
And we all sat on the back row and we could not sing those songs. And then they had us sustain, starting with Russell Nelson all the way down to our ward leaders. And we couldn't sustain anybody. And it was at that point that I felt that I was other. And that was the first time in my life that I didn't feel like I belonged, and they were my tribe, and it was all done. I've never been back voluntarily. I mean, I've been back, but just to support family.
So that was May of 2018, like a year ago, about
Probably
May or June,
end of May, maybe first part of June,
okay,
something
so
like
about
that.
a year ago. So
Yeah.
you haven't really attended since, other than
Yeah, I've been to baby blessings for my sweet little grandbabies, but that's about it.
That's like 45 to 50 years of devotion just ending.
Mm-hmm.
That's a thing, man. Whatever that is, that's a thing.
Yeah, it's a thing.
So about that time is when I put the first public post on Facebook and came out. And
why post to Facebook at all? Like, what are you thinking?
Well, I wanted everybody to know where we were at and our. No, I didn't really explain our beliefs or anything, but kind of why we had left the church, and I wanted to tell the world about Sam Young and his deal that was going on, and it was a pretty long public email and
or post,
yeah. Sorry. And then over the course of the next year, this year.
And by the way, I just in your defense, I kind of like. I'm playing devil's advocate because I want help. I want to help people avoid pain, unnecessary pain, or contention, or conflict, or negative consequences. When you do post, like in your position, though, I can just imagine everybody's known you for so long as the bishop, and everyone's going to be wondering, and everybody's going to be gossiping, and everybody's going to be making up their stories. There's just got to be this really strong impulse to just tell everybody. Get it all out and be able to tell your own story and not leave it subjected to the gossip of other people.
Exactly.
Yes.
Was that a bunch of it?
Exactly. And I mean, I'll be honest, there's a little bit of anger, and I honestly want to expose the church to some of the things that I don't think are good.
So like missionary zeal, anti-missionary zeal. Like,
yeah.
Take people out while you're going. Is that what
I mean, I don't like, it's kind of a weird thing to explain. I don't know if I even understand it in my own head, but I want to expose the church for what I think they are, but at the same time, I don't want to bring people out. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to hurt people. I don't want to damage their testimonies, but I want people to know the truth.
It's a natural impulse. You wanted to know the truth when you were in as a believer, and you wanted to know the truth when you've lost your faith. Because we're taught that truth matters, right? Yeah.
And so over the course of this past year, I've shared a few things on Facebook, not very many.
We went like the church is a cult or Joseph's a fraud.
I've never said that.
So what are the types? Just so, because people are going to be like, oh, you're excommunicated. Like you must have been being anti-Mormon.
Some of them were things that I would share that other people had posted, maybe some comments about Doctrine and Covenants 132 or some discrepancies about the First Vision and Joseph Smith. I've posted things about polygamy and
the irony is the church publishes this type of information.
Exactly.
Yes.
So why can they publish about First Vision, polygamy, Book of Abraham? They can talk about it publicly, but you are going to get excommunicated for it, and they're talking about it publicly caused you to have your faith crisis. Like I'm just calling that out, Mormon Church. That's not consistent or fair, right?
It's not.
True.
And I would post things that had really nothing technically to do about the church, like definitions of cognitive dissonance or different things like that. And just for the most part, I think they're pretty benign. I mean, one post that I did share, the title was a little bit offensive to people that it said Joseph Smith was a sexual predator. But then the article itself has a whole bunch of things that are backed up by the church, and if you read the article, it's all true.
I shied away from that language for a long time, and it is very abrasive language. Mm-hmm. But there's no other conclusion. It's as hard as it is for how much we've been taught to revere Joseph Smith. Who else grooms 14-year-olds and sleeps with other men's wives? And what else do you call that?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And uses their power.
Yeah, an angel with the flaming sword.
Like blames it on God and an angel
yes.
on a flaming sword. Like that's, if anybody did that behavior today, they'd be killed or imprisoned.
Exactly.
Yes.
But for Joseph, we can't call it what it is. Like,
Right.
So, I mean, that's harsh, but it's factual.
Yes.
It's true. And so the majority of the things that I put on Facebook, most people didn't really comment, but a few times people would comment and they would call me out or want to argue with me. And so I would engage in their conversations, and I was always as respectful and loving as I could be. And I think I was. I honestly think that I was. And so my stake president in April called me in.
Of this year.
So
he gave you a year to like hang yourself with things that you posted on Facebook.
Yeah.
Right?
And so he had texted me a couple times and wanted to meet with me, and I told him, no, I don't need to meet with you. So he texted me again, and I said, okay, I'll meet with you tonight at 8:30. And so he did.
So he kind of wouldn't leave you alone.
Yeah.
And by that point, do you think after a year of these sorts of posts, he's just like, do you think he was concerned you were starting to cause members to doubt, or?
Well, that's what when he called me in and talked to me, he said that you are bringing people out of the church. And I tried to ask him who, and he wouldn't. He says, well, besides your family, there's at least 2 other people, which I don't know who that is. But and you have publicly come out in support of Sam Young, and he's an apostate. And
again,
so,
Sam Young was protecting children from sexual abuse.
Exactly.
That was his crime.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So somehow Joseph Bishop and Sterling Van Wagenen, as sexual predators, get to stay in the church. You supporting Sam Young, who's trying to keep abuse from happening, is an act of apostasy. That is something I will never understand in Mormonism.
I don't understand it either.
Yeah.
And so he told me because of those things and that I keep posting anti-things against the church, that if I don't stop, that he's going to have to hold a disciplinary council on me. And so he asked me, will you stop doing that so I don't have to hold a disciplinary council? And I said, no, I can't agree to that, because if I see something or I feel something that I want to share publicly, I'm going to do it. So he said, well, I'll just have to see what happens then. And he gave it. And so right after that, I was angry, obviously, because I don't think that it's appropriate to censor people. I mean, I guess they can do whatever they want. If they don't want me to post something, they can kick me out, but I don't think it's right. And so immediately that week, I posted a few more things on Facebook, and then we went on vacation, and I didn't do anything for a couple of weeks. And then when I got back, I posted 2 more benign things like last week. And so then I got the letter saying that.
And what were they about?
It was one about Doctrine and Covenants 132 and one about the first vision.
And, you would think the church would just be okay with people's free expression of thought or feeling. Like, they don't need to be a Gestapo. Let you have your process.
Exactly.
You'll work through it. And then, they don't have to be policing people's public statements like the KGB, like the FBI, and then thought police. If you don't communicate the right thing, we either silence you or punish you. That's medieval. That's not even 21st century behavior.
Yeah, and every time I would post something, other members of the church would come on and bear their testimony and things like that. So they have their right to do that, and the church has always got those people to back them up. So
yeah, so just be confident. And
exactly.
Let people have their process. But instead, they're acting like the KGB. Okay. And what do you think about all this when he's being told to be quiet or we're going to punish you?
Yeah, when he said that they told him, that they were going to hold a disciplinary if he didn't stop, I said, don't stop. I don't think that that's appropriate for somebody to try to silence you. That's not okay.
Another reason why I tend to be a little bit public with things is because so many people have reached out to me and they're hurting and they're suffering through faith crisis and they don't know what to do or who to talk to. And so I've always felt with me being public, there's somebody to talk to, and I'm willing to do that.
That's huge. That saves lives, literally saves lives. So somebody also wrote Leadership Roulette because there are bishops and stake presidents that support Sam Young or that don't mind that their members supported Sam Young. So again, church, get consistent on what is an excommunicable offense, because it makes no sense that some bishops and stake presidents are either lenient or even supportive of Sam Young, but that for your president, your stake president is an excommunicable offense, right?
Yeah,
Right.
it makes no sense at all.
Yeah, it's totally inconsistent. Now, some would say, well, that proves the church at church headquarters isn't orchestrating this, that it must be a local decision because there's not a standard. What do you say to that? I don't know why that matters.
I don't-
People really care about that.
Yeah, I don't know whether they do or not. I can't imagine that they do because in my little world, I'm pretty insignificant, really. I mean, it's not like I'm super intelligent with history like Bill Reel or some of those people. And
Right.
and
You're not a
so-
public figure. So
No,
church
I'm not. I'm not a public
headquarters.
figure at all. So it's my little tiny Facebook area.
Yeah, like 500 friends. Like, really?
But it could, just like the Swedish Rescue, it could affect Farmington, maybe.
Yeah,
Maybe?
I haven't seen that, but
Yeah, I don't think that it is. I mean, I
How
don't
many stakes
know.
in Farmington again?
there's one stake in Farmington, one in Aztec, one in Kirtland. So there's 3 stakes in the
Okay.
area.
And then one in Durango.
Yeah, I mean, the
there's
bubble's
4.
so fierce that even in Farmington or Durango, maybe a few people are going to hear about this, but to most Mormons, you're just gone and erased,
Right.
right?
Right. Yes.
Yeah.
So we've lost our way because we've been deceived.
And so they just forget about you,
Yes.
which is hard, right? To be forgotten about. Is that hard? How many, when you guys stopped attending church for that year, how many ward members reached out to you to say, are you okay? Can we help you? What's wrong? Like all these people you had served for decades, how many of them reached out to show you love and support?
2 people.
I've had a few too. So,
What do you
I've
think?
had a
What do you
few.
think about that number?
I think it's crazy, and I think honestly, and I have no idea if this is true or not, but I don't think that they want, ward auxiliaries coming to try to teach us and things like that, or missionaries. I don't think they want to send them to our house.
Because it spreads the virus.
yes.
Well, that makes sense. But just individuals like when I was excommunicated, these people I had helped, lay sod. I had babysat their kids. Like I had done. Like, come on. Like at least 4 or 5 people come say, John, at least just tell me what happened, and it was nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing. That's weird,
Yeah.
right? And it's a little bit hurtful.
It's super hurtful, and it's
It must be
difficult.
way worse as a bishop.
Well, and that's the thing is because, like I was saying,
with
is
the mic.
you can go from being this idolized person one day to the next day that you're deceived and just stupid, But nobody wants to talk to you and find out why you got deceived.
Yeah. It's because there's nothing more dangerous than an apostate.
Yes, and
Like-
so I get that, and I give them space to give us a wide berth and not come around if they're it's okay. And I had a baby shower for our daughter, and we had a lot of ward members come and attend that.
Oh, good.
So they've really
They're not. Everybody's nice. Nobody's really rude to
Yeah,
us or
we
anything like
haven't
that.
had-
But it's just the silent treatment about these issues that's difficult.
So Stephen Eliason writes, I saw those Facebook posts. I'm still a member. To me, they were not even close to warrant any kind of discipline. Wish there was more I could do. So, all right. So those little conversations you did have with those 2 people, like what was that like when the few members did reach out?
One person who I think is really the only person that wanted to know details. It was good to talk to him and tell him the reasons why I left it, and he was secure enough in his own faith and beliefs, I guess, that it hasn't bothered him, and he's still active in the church. So that's my point: is that I think people can talk to us and can listen to us and find out what our problems are, and they can still have their belief in Mormonism.
Yeah, like belief should be strong.
Yeah.
It shouldn't be threatened.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Diamond writes, you find out who your friends really are, or you find out that your friends maybe really weren't friends. Isn't that kind of true? What did you learn about the Mormon community, at least in your experience?
I think that they're really great people. I think that, we were put in these wards, and we wouldn't maybe necessarily be friends with these people, except for we see them every week. And now that we don't see them every week, then there's not a lot of connection.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say they're bad people, but you learn that the relationships are a little bit thin.
They
Exactly.
are, yeah.
Right?
That's what's connecting you to them, is that you share a belief and that you share, you know.
That's one of the greatest things since we've come out, is that I think that we're able to see people more authentically and love people better. And we have some great relationships now that are outside of the church that we never had before. And it's amazing to have those friendships and that are wonderful.
Like the Hinkies, they reached out to us. Like, I was like in the depths of despair, the first time I met them, and like,
How'd they find out about you?
Post I put on Facebook.
it was actually on. It was in a private ex-Mormon group that he posted, and then they realized that.
And so what did Boston and Heber, what happened?
They just said, "Oh, I'm so sorry. We've been right there through this like a year ago. Let's go to dinner. We can talk about it." And
What was that like? Well, how was dinner?
It's wonderful.
yeah, it was a little traumatic to me, but it was all good.
Were they some of the first people to reach out?
They were the very first people to reach out.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Good for you, Heber
So,
and
yeah.
Boston. You guys are awesome.
And so they've continued to be, it's amazing, the connection that we feel to them. So it's a good thing.
Yeah, so you lose 1,000 kind of thin and superficial relationships, but maybe you gain 5 or 10 what?
Yeah, like true friends. And and the outpouring of love and support that we've had from the ex-Mormon community has been fabulous. Like,
And just to go back to that point, that we have superficial relationships, I think, a lot of times in the Mormon church, and that causes us to also have superficial relationships with members or people who are not members of the church. But since leaving, those relationships have gotten much, much, much better. Like, people that I've known for a long, long time are great friends now.
Yeah. Yeah, so like it's a trade up.
it is.
It's kind of a trade up. Is there like a Farmington or Durango, like a Mormon Spectrum community or post-Mormon community, or the Facebook group or
There's
meetup
not.
group?
It's not
or-
official, but yeah, we tried to have get-togethers, and we have, group chats and whatever that we have going. That
So
we
there's
can
no Mormon
vent
Spectrum
and-
group that people can register and kind of.
Not official, I don't think.
so.
We should
You guys
get that
need to
going.
Get on the ball.
Yeah, we
know.
should.
There are other people. There have to be other people.
Yeah.
There's a lot
Yes.
of people that we're
In
familiar
3
with.
stakes,
Yes.
I would estimate 120 people that are struggling at least.
Right. Yeah, we should do that.
I don't know, I'm not telling you what to do, but
Yeah.
at least you won't have to worry about getting excommunicated for creating a support group.
Oh, already taken place.
So he threatens you with church discipline. Then you say no. What, as you've seen other people get excommunicated in the past, did that factor in what role or what importance they played in your life? Did any of that factor into your decision to not be silent and to face a disciplinary council? Like Sam Young, Bill Reel,
yeah.
any others?
I think all of them.
Jeremy Reynolds. Like,
I think all of
how
them.
did you think about past excommunications when you were contemplating your own?
Okay, honestly, it goes back to the fact that I think that a light needs to be shown on the church, and I think the world needs to be made aware of certain things that I think are not good and not true or whatever. And if I'm just silent, and if everybody is silent, then the status quo will just continue, and no changes will ever be made. And so I admired those people who came forward and were public and suffered those ordeals.
So you do it out of a care for honesty and transparency.
Mm-hmm.
You do it to help inform other people so that the ignorance and the silence doesn't continue. and
to be a support to those people that are going through the same thing that we're going
to
through.
offer yourself up as a support for others who may also.
Yeah, because if everybody is silent, those people who don't know that we're out there, they don't have any place to go. And so those people who are beginning these faith crises and suffering alone, they don't have to do that.
So you kind of want to be there for others and pay it forward. Is that right?
Yeah,
Yes.
for sure.
Or, but it's also like a real public. Oh, okay. So one of the main things they always try and do is get you to resign.
They tried that, yes.
They try and say, well, if you don't believe, just resign, right? Why not resign? Did you think about that?
Because that's just being quiet and nobody would know. And then that would be too easy on the church. And I know that sounds angry and hurtful and everything, and it's probably comes off worse than what I really feel, but I don't want to do the easy thing.
Well, and for me, I'm not at that point in my life right now. Like, I don't want to not be a member of the Mormon church. Like, my whole family has been and always, and they still are. And that like alienates me, cuts me off from my ancestors. It cuts me off from my parents, from my brothers and sisters, my cousins, my aunts, my uncles. Like, we're supposed to be a tribe. We're all together in this. And I'm not at that point where I feel like I want to resign.
Yeah, and I'm saying I have no intentions of resigning or anything. I was never going to do that because I know how hurtful it is for my kids, for their parents to not be a member of the church. Even though we're not active, I'm sure that, this is a next step. This is an actual nail in the coffin kind of thing.
Yeah, because if the church leaves you guys alone, your believing family can still feel like there's still hope. There's
Exactly.
still possibility.
Yes.
It's like unnecessarily inflicting pain on the believing family members.
Yes. And like when Madison chose to resign, like I support her in that, but I told her, I said, I have no plans to do that. So, that is her showing her autonomy and that this really is about her. And so.
But the hardest thing is for our believing kids. And that was the hardest decision in this whole process for me to make, whether I wanted to come public or not. It was because of them, because I don't want to hurt them. And I know that this hurts them, and it hurts me because of that.
Yeah, so the church is hurting people when it does this. Because they'll always make the case, well, you don't believe anymore, so why stay a member? Like, why doesn't matter?
But that shouldn't be the church's decision that should be up to us.
Yeah. And one of our sons said, Dad, I just want to ask you one thing. Please, 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 if there's anything you can do, just try not to get excommunicated. When we told him that we had received the letter, like it breaks his heart to have his dad be excommunicated. He doesn't want that.
Because that's the other thing. It's an act of public shaming. It's stamping a big scarlet letter. It's branding you as dangerous.
And so as it does that, it puts a kind of a scarlet letter on your kids too. Because they have a dad who is an apostate now.
Well, it takes away those saving ordinances.
Go ahead.
Well, it also takes away those saving ordinances that, like, our true believing members believe is what gets them to heaven.
So you're going to hell.
Yes.
It's condemning their parent to hell, basically.
Well, and that we're not going to be together as a family.
And it breaks up the family. Yeah. Yeah, but I just don't want to lose sight of the fact that they are signaling to Mormons everywhere that you're bad and dangerous and scary and spiritually evil. And that is a violent act.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yes.
It is. And like it hurts for the whole world but it's only for my kids that I really truly care about that hurt. If that makes sense. I mean, that's where it is the most difficult for me.
And I'm guessing your kids don't share that view that you're bad or evil.
No.
Hopefully,
I hope not.
Hopefully. Yeah, but
if they're listening, maybe they can chime in.
I hate it when people say, well, you don't believe anymore. So, and it's the church's, they're in charge. It's their rules, so they can do what they want. And
we hear that all the time.
Matter.
Yes.
But you don't buy that. You don't like that. I don't either. And that's why we make a big deal about these excommunications. We're going to rub this in their noses until they stop because it's hurtful. It's violent. why? Well, it hurts everyone, and it hurts the church. Like, it's like they're literally shooting themselves in the face every time they do this because they're bringing more attention to it. These families are so beautiful and smart and kind. It causes a whole nother generation of people to question and doubt. And it makes the church look anti-Christ. It's literally anti-Christian what they're doing. It's violent and barbaric and medieval and mean and hurtful. And the only thing we can do is just keep shining a light on it, which is why we're going to hold a vigil for you guys, why we're going to drive a busload of people down, why we're calling on everyone within a 500-mile radius of Farmington, New Mexico, to come to the Farmington Stake Center in Farmington, New Mexico. It's 6 o'clock on June 30th, 2019, and show up, maybe come at 5:30, and show your love and support for this family and let the church know that you hate and are not going to stand for this sort of behavior to continue.
Amen.
And we're going to have a little social. Is that right?
Yes.
Yeah, we're going to get together with some people. And I want to turn these things into celebration. Like, it's almost like being excommunicated in 2019 means you stood on the right side of history. It means you stood up for truth. It means you stood up for integrity. It means you stand up for LGBT rights. It means you stand for women. You stand for people of color. You stand for honesty and integrity. And you stand for children and against rapists and against, pedophiles. Like, what's not to love about standing for those things?
Exactly.
It's almost a badge of honor. Is it a badge of honor? I don't mean to be flippant about it.
No, I think so. It's hard.
Yeah, it's hard. But
It's
I
hard.
think that it's better to do that than to, for us personally, that now that we're in this situation, well, I'm not, but Jared is, that, don't let them just hand in your resignation. That's, at this point, that's not even an option,
Let's address the fact that you're not, because I usually say that the couple or the family's being excommunicated, even when sometimes it's just the spouse. I mean, in Leah's case, she was excommunicated. And in some of the other cases, I don't know, the Maloofs or the Calderwoods, it was both. Margie was almost offended that they just ignored her. Like, you'd think, leaving the woman out somehow is respectful or kind. But there's also a sense that you're just, what do you think? You're just kind of being ignored.
It's true. And I mean, if it's all about the Facebook post, then yeah, I'm not vocal on Facebook because we discussed how I'm a peacemaker and whatever.
Right.
But I am definitely in apostasy if that's what our
You
issues
share 100%
are.
his beliefs.
100% his
And you're here on the
views.
podcast. Maybe they'll rush you in and add you for this podcast, right?
But yeah, I mean, women are not important in the church. That's what I've come to see. So
it's just like regular normal
yeah,
everyday.
I'm not a priesthood holder, so it doesn't matter what I say, I guess.
Well, you may get a letter. We'll see. Or you may not be important enough to get a letter.
We'll see. I doubt that I get one.
Yeah.
So
Okay, so a lot of people are like, why even show up? A lot of people are like, don't show up to the disciplinary council. It's degrading, it's violent, and you're complicit in their abuse if you play into it by even showing up. What are your thoughts about that?
My thoughts about that are it's going to be difficult because all of those men on the high council I've served with and I know and I love, but I know there's all kinds of rumors out in Farmington about why we left, and I want to kind of set those rumors straight about why we really did leave and give everybody something to think about. And if I just walk away, then those rumors will just persist and people will have their own perceptions and they won't really know why we left and what our feelings and views are.
And that's a real thing. The intentionally or unintentionally, directly or indirectly, consciously or subconsciously, there's always this push to define your disaffection on untruthful and unfavorable terms.
yes.
They want people to think you were weak or wanted to sin or were swingers or were drug addicts or prostitutes or gay or had an affair.
Or we were lazy.
Or you were
just didn't read our
lazy.
scriptures.
Anything but like standing for truth and standing for what's right and an act of integrity. They want the rumor mill to swirl that you were evil or perverted or, sinful in some way. And the only way to counter that is to speak your truth, right?
Yes. That's why we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us about this.
Because why?
Because we can speak our truth. This is a perfect opportunity for anybody who's looked at the Lusks and said, oh my gosh, how can a bishop lose his faith? Well, this is exactly how it can happen. And
so was it porn? Was it porn? Is that what happened?
No.
Did you have an affair?
No.
No affair?
No beer?
Porn?
None of that.
No beer?
No, not even coffee. I mean, no.
Wait, you're saying you haven't tried beer yet?
No, I have.
Okay.
But up until that point, I had never.
Okay.
I had never.
So the faith crisis wasn't
No.
beer, porn, adultery.
No, that
wanted to sin.
nothing.
Were you offended? I mean, maybe you're offended.
I don't get offended, no.
Well, what stereotype can we pin on you? If
Well, I have heard those rumors that I haven't heard all the rumors, but, I was offended and we're lazy and we just stopped going to church and we stopped reading our scriptures and we started reading anti-Mormon stuff. And
how about that? Okay, that's it. You read anti-Mormon literature. But it was the church's essays, right?
Exactly.
It was even that. So
Yes.
rumors that I wanted certain big callings that I didn't get, so I was mad and left.
you didn't get stake president. You didn't get your mission president calling. Madison, please.
Oh, well, I was going to say what he said. That was my favorite rumor, that
What?
he wanted high callings.
Because
why?
That's
That he left because he wanted high callings that he wasn't
That's
getting.
your favorite why?
Yeah. Oh, it's my favorite because it's just like so far from the truth. I mean, he spent like half this interview saying how he didn't like his high callings and stuff.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Matt, how do you feel about the disciplinary council, the excommunication, Madison?
I just, I've seen how hard this whole thing is on them and just how they react just from like a few Facebook posts amazes me. And I guess they have their right to do whatever they want in their religion, but you would think that they would save the basic human rights of free speech and letting them voice their opinion about this. It's just crazy to me that this would cause them to excommunicate them and take away those ordinances which they believe is what gets them to heaven.
Right. How do you feel about your parents and what they've done and what they've sacrificed and how they've handled this whole situation?
I think they've handled it good, and I'm proud of them for not just walking away quietly and for continuing to speak their truth.
You're proud of them?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're proud of them. Mm-hmm. Even though it's been very disruptive for you and your life and kind of turned everything upside down?
Yeah, but I mean, it's been for the better. I'm grateful for where I'm at in my life. And
okay. Yeah. Well, okay, I want to talk about that next. But overall, you feel what towards your parents for the excommunication, for their speaking out, for them leaving the church? You feel what?
I feel good. I feel proud of them. I think it's what they feel is right, and I want them to do that.
Having 18 to 21 to 23-year-old kids, can I just tell you how hard it is to get a teenager to say they're proud of their parents? How does it feel to hear that from your daughter?
Yeah, we love our kids.
It means everything.
Oh.
Yeah, it means everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just hope that
I want my 18-year-old to be proud. My 18-year-old is in that other room.
Okay.
I hope she's proud of me.
I want my 3 sons that are still believing to still be proud of me too, though. So hopefully we can be there.
Yeah, and maybe I bet you're proud of your believing kids for
I'm so proud of
standing
them.
for their truth.
That's what I tell them. I said, you've done everything I've taught you to do. Why I'm so proud of you.
Yeah. We should just all be proud of each other.
Yeah.
I love it. Okay, so you're going to go to the disciplinary council. You're going to attend. You're going to speak your truth. Are you going to call witnesses?
Gwen will be there.
Because you're an active member in good standing, or you're a member in good standing.
Yes.
Oh, you're going to be there just because you're the spouse. But will you be able to speak? Are you going to speak?
I'm planning to speak.
Okay. Well, you get to allocate your time. You'll get 1 hour, ideally, and you get to allocate it. Do you know how you're going to divide the time up?
I haven't thought. That's what I'm going to spend this next week thinking about.
Okay. You'll probably write a talk.
Yeah.
And you'll write a talk?
Yes.
Okay. And are you going to invite some other believing witnesses?
I'm thinking about it.
Okay.
I'll probably prepare some pamphlets to hand to everybody.
Little literature to hand out. What do you expect the verdict will be?
Excommunication.
Okay.
I don't think they have any other choice at this point from what they've said.
And how do you feel about that?
Like I say, it makes me sad because I know it doesn't make me sad personally other than from the fact that it's going to hurt my kids and my family members. You know, her parents, her siblings, my parents, my siblings. It hurts everybody, and especially our kids that believe. That's the hardest thing for me.
What about your dental practice?
It could hurt it a little bit, but I don't think it will be super detrimental.
How do you feel?
It actually kind of hurts me personally. Yeah, I don't like it. So.
Yeah.
It's ugly.
It's ugly. You're a peacemaker.
I am, yes. And this is just brutal. It's just violent and wrong. It's just not okay.
Yeah.
So.
Would Christ excommunicate people for what you've done, in your view?
I don't think so. No.
No.
No. No, that's a no.
No.
Okay. Do you wish you were being excommunicated too, or are you glad you're kind of out of the conflict?
I guess I don't. I guess I feel like what they do to him, they do to me. And so I'm feeling the pain of it for both of us, because if they don't want him, then they can't have me. I will resign. So and that's painful to me because, like I said, I'm not at that point in my life. But if they're going to do something that violent, that I can't be a part of them anymore. If they don't want him, then I can't be a part of them.
And that was Margie's reaction. She resigned the next day, and it was. I don't know if you'll experience this, but it was incredibly cold and impersonal and detached. That was the most eerie. They weren't yelling, they weren't, but they were just cold and businesslike and apathetic and distant and disconnected emotionally. There was no emotion in that room. And that was so gross. And
that's
eerie.
sad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not prepared for that. That would be the worst feeling in the room, I think.
I'd rather than be angry.
Yes.
Than just like, can we move on here? You know what I mean? It was just like, we're cutting you off from salvation. Can we move it along?
Right.
I've got dinner. You know what I mean? It's just, it was awful. Yeah. I'm sorry. And I'm really, really respect you guys for doing this. And I know you're going to help a lot of people.
I guess the only other thing I would say is, as hard as everything is, people who are in the church don't relate to this at all, and I don't understand it, but the feeling that I have of the freedom to be able to truly think and truly live my life, authentically for however that happens to be, is just absolutely amazing. It's the most freeing feeling that I've ever had in my whole entire life.
Now I just want to talk about kind of like life after. So I'm going to start with you, Madison. Like, the church would have us believe that our youth will become prostitutes, drug dealers, just immoral. You can't be a healthy, moral 18-year-old without Mormonism. So how are you doing?
I'm doing okay. I mean, I think, in all honesty, I think it is something that, like, youth that leave the church struggle with, is because you're just, like, faced with so many different choices you didn't have before, and you want to, like, experience a lot of those things that most teenagers do experience in their youth, and you want to, be a little rebellious sometimes, and if that's part of it, like, I think that's okay, honestly.
I mean, the weird thing is Mormon kids are having sex and doing drugs all over Utah. Like,
yeah,
I have kids in high school. Like, it's happening anyway. But anyway,
yeah,
so
exactly.
But you're saying you felt some of those ideas anyway. You had those ideas.
Yeah, but I definitely don't feel like I've gone off the deep end. I mean, I feel like it's made me a more loving person that can love people unconditionally and can, think for herself. And I think it's, like, made me develop as a person more. And, I mean, if people want to say I've gone off the deep end, I guess okay then. But I wouldn't contribute that to, losing the light of Christ or anything like that.
She wears a bikini at the beach now instead.
Instead of her tankini.
A bikini instead of tankini. And have any angels died or lost their wings or like?
No.
So how like we can joke about it, but like on the worst end, it's like lose your belief in God or in Jesus potentially, or like lose your sense of meaning and purpose and have no reason to be moral or good. That's like one extreme and careen into evil. On the other extreme, it's like happier, healthier, better than ever. Like, where are you? Where do you feel like you are, if you could even make an objective assessment?
Honestly, like I'm still kind of struggling with like losing my belief in God and like still kind of working through that. But I'm happy about where I'm at and that, you know, I'm free to think for myself and like make any choices that I want to make. And yeah, I feel like I'm in a better spot than
What if you
I
screw
was.
up your life?
Well, oh well.
Do you still have a desire to be healthy and moral? Like, talk about that for a second. Like, why would any 18-year-old stay physically and mentally healthy and moral without God or, you know, hell or guilt or bishops or shame to motivate you? What would motivate you to, are you motivated to be healthy and moral? And if so, why?
Yeah.
Why?
I want to like have a successful life. I want to go on and, you know, become a nurse and have a family of my own. I can't do that if I'm not in that place. And I don't want to do anything to harm anyone else.
Wow, that seems just so simple.
Yeah. It is pretty simple.
Okay. All right. Have you gotten a tattoo yet?
No, I haven't.
Do you want a tattoo?
Yeah, I'm thinking about it.
You are?
Yeah.
Did I
They
see a
both got
tattoo on
one.
your arm?
Yeah,
Bishop?
you did.
Bishop, can you show us your tattoo?
I'll have to
Or is
flex
it-
my arm.
Or is it a secret?
No, it's not.
You got a tattoo. Now that's you've clearly
Okay, so
fallen into darkness.
we
Oh
got-
my gosh, she's got one too.
it's a chain, and then it says the truth will set you free.
Hold,
and
hold
it's
it up
got-
again. Hold it up again. Okay, what does it say?
The truth will set you free.
John 3:6.
Wait, choose happy. The truth will set you free.
This was
John.
an addition he added.
You even threw in a biblical verse there. John what? John 8.
8:32.
Okay, and then what does it say underneath?
It's just a chain.
Look at that
and
bicep, everybody.
That's broken.
That's sin right there. Look at
and
that
then
bicep.
Gwen and I
Got matching tattoos. It's mountains and ocean waves and our anniversary date because we love to hike. We hike peaks all the time, and we love the ocean.
All right, Gwen, pull out your gun. Let's
Well,
show.
I don't have good guns.
Wait, move, sit back. You got a great gun. Sit back. What does it say? Same thing?
Yeah, same thing. It's the exact tattoo. They're matching
Oh,
tattoos.
you got a tattoo. Mormon
We're off the
mommies
deep
don't
end.
get tattoos.
I know. I'm
What
off
made
the
you do
deep
that?
end.
Were you just feeling rebellious, or was it a symbol of liberation? What was it for you?
It was, maybe a symbol of like I'm taking my life back and I get to choose for myself what I do with my body. So, and I don't think that there's anything wrong with the tattoo, and it symbolizes our love for each other. Like he's my person, and we climb every mountain, swim every ocean, that kind of thing forever. So.
Okay, I'm asking the same question for you. Why not go sleep with other men if the church isn't true? Like, why?
Because I still have a moral code, and I still get to decide.
What's
for
it rooted in? If it's not
Yeah.
rooted in hell and heaven and celestial kingdom,
Yeah, it's
What's it rooted in?
It's like what I feel like in my own heart. What is wrong and what is right, and what would be wrong would be going and sleeping with other people. That would hurt him. It's not something I want to do either. But it's just I want to still be a good person, not because I'm afraid that I'm going to go to hell or that I'm trying to earn my way into the celestial kingdom. But it's who I am. I'm just going to keep being me. My parents taught me to be a good person, so.
So some would say that's not strong enough. Like when the rubber meets the road, when some cute guy propositions you, you're not going to have the same level of fortitude that a religious person was because it's not strong enough.
Oh, okay.
Well, religious.
No, honestly, what do you think about that?
I don't think that that's true at all. Like there's nothing that, I have a strong moral code that you don't do things that hurt other people. Like you don't steal from people, you don't cheat on other people. I try to live my life with love and, and be decent and kind to everyone. Like, I don't ever feel like it's okay to be rude to somebody. You know, that's just not who I am. So I don't know. I don't feel any different than I did when I was Mormon about these things. You know, it's just like, I don't feel like Mormonism made me be a good person.
Right.
I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah. I feel more committed to my wife, more committed to faithfulness, and more honest than I've ever felt.
Yes.
Because it's me. It's not some external authority
Exactly.
telling me how to behave. I'm doing it because I believe in it and want to, for no other reason.
Exactly. And I feel so much less judgment of other people, and I feel like I'm more accepting and loving of everyone. Like, there's not conditions of, oh, I really like them, they would make such a good Mormon, they need to stop. You know, there's nothing that's, I don't know. All the judgment is gone. And I'm just free to love people for who they are right now, not if they make these changes, but I can love you right now.
And ironically, to me, that feels more Christ-like.
Yes, it does to me
Unconditional love versus judgment feels more Christ-like every day of the week.
Yes, for sure. For sure.
So that's weird.
Yeah, it's super weird. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely feel more love for the whole human race than I ever did.
Yeah.
So.
All right. How about you? How about you, Jared? Like, what's keeping you from having the wheels fall off your wagon?
I kind of the same thing. I think people are good. I don't think I think in a lot of ways religion sometimes makes people worse, but not always. But I think sometimes it can. But I think that people are good, and I think that generally people are going to make choices that are good. Sometimes we're all going to make choices that are bad. But just because we make a bad choice, and I don't care what that choice is, I don't think that makes somebody unworthy or, unacceptable to God if there's a God. I think that we make choices, and some are good and some are bad, and we're going to learn from those choices. But I'm not going to judge somebody harshly, or I'm going to try not to love somebody less if they make a mistake or screw up. And so I honestly think that inside most people are good. And I don't think that the Mormon Church is what makes people good. I think they're good regardless of it.
Right. So for each of you, starting with you, Madison, what's the purpose of life? What's the meaning and purpose of life if it's not to go to the celestial kingdom and become a god someday? What's the point? Why even get up in the morning?
I think you can find happiness in every day, and you can just, find a way to find that happiness and make other people happy, and just, I guess, leave your mark on the world.
Do you feel happy and optimistic about your life? Are you excited for your life?
Yes, I'm very excited.
Even without church?
Yeah, imagine that, huh?
Are you going to college? Are you
Yeah.
in the fall or
This fall.
Do you know where you're going?
NMSU in Las Cruces.
New Mexico State University?
Uh-huh.
And you're going to study nursing?
Yeah.
Are you going to date boys?
Yeah.
Yeah? Is it scary or weird to date without the law of chastity and without kind of Mormonism? Like, it's a whole different world, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Because, like, boys might want to have sex on the first date, or like, is that scary? Is it weird? Like, and by the way, one of the things that's always bothered me is I can't mentor my adult children on like how to navigate sex and drugs and life because I haven't tried any of that stuff outside of like, so like that's weird. Is that weird?
It's definitely scary for my parents. Like they lecture me every day about going down there alone, like
wearing bikinis and things like that.
Yeah, he makes me sound way better than I actually am. But I think you just have to be smart about it and like make a plan for what your morals really are so that you can be safe with those things.
And you'll probably make some mistakes along the way, right? Mm-hmm. But you learn from them, but you're excited.
Yeah, I am.
Yeah. Okay. Mm-hmm. And so the purpose of life for you is to be happy and to make others happy. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's too simple. That just sounds too simple.
Simple's good though.
Yeah, it is.
That's what I've learned.
All right. For you, Gwen, what's the purpose and meaning of life?
I don't know. I still think that maybe the scriptures kind of have it right that men are that they might have joy.
Men and women are.
Yeah, that we should figure out what makes us happy in this life, and
But some would say wickedness never was happiness, and leaving the church is clearly wicked. So there's no way you can be happy or find joy because you've left God's one true path.
I guess that part was wrong. No, I don't feel wicked. I don't feel wicked at all.
Do you feel darker?
I don't feel darker.
You don't?
No.
Okay.
So
you are having joy.
I am having joy. And I just feel like that, just to like spread kindness and goodness in the world. And that's,
And that's enough for you?
That's enough.
Really?
That's good enough.
What about all those checklists and everything?
I know. Those are really fun, but, maybe not necessary.
Okay. So do you feel like your marriage is stronger now?
For sure it is. And some of that is just, we've been through such a horrible, terrible, tragic experience together, and that's brought us really close together. But I feel like, I don't know, we're just solid, and yeah, definitely.
I mean, you were before.
Right, we were.
But when that layer's removed and it's like there's no Jesus or church between us, it's either you choose each other or not. It's
right.
It's kind of pure, right?
It is pure. Yeah, it definitely is.
Because it's not conditional.
It's not conditional at all. So
that theme keeps returning.
Yes.
Okay. How about for you, Jared?
Same thing. There's a lot of things I'm still trying to learn. But I think for me anyway, is I need to learn how to be present in the moment and enjoy the moment. And my whole life I've been so focused on tomorrow and the next day and the future and
the afterlife
and the afterlife and all of that. And so it's been hard to deal with that. But I'm slowly coming around to that. But I think that, I don't know what's going to happen in the next life. I'm going to die, and all I know for sure.
So there might not be a God. There might not be an afterlife. Is that your view?
My view is yeah. I don't know, and I'm okay with that.
You're okay not knowing.
Exactly. I'm okay.
Some would say that's an inferior state. Like, they know. So you don't know. That must be unsettling and awful to not know.
Yeah, because I used to want to know, but I still didn't know. But I had to fake it like I knew. But
so you
now
have false certainty.
Yeah, and so now I don't
feel.
No.
Yeah.
And now I don't really know. As far as God and all of that, I don't know. I honestly have no idea. I hope there is something, but I have a hard time believing that. I have a hard time with that.
So why get up in the morning if you don't know if there's an afterlife or a God?
Because I'm here on this earth, and there's a lot of good on this earth. There's amazing people, and there's amazing things to see. And so I'm going to experience it as much as I can and have as much joy as I can and help people as much as I can and enjoy other people.
Again, that sounds way too simple.
I think that's one of the beauties of stepping away from the church at some point, is that it's not as complicated as the church wants to make it seem.
Right. What about service? Why ever bother serving anyone again if there's no kudos up in heaven? Have you found ways to serve others yet? Is that something you're still trying to figure out how to do?
I think it's important. I don't know. Within the church, obviously, service is a big thing, but so much of it is just, in my mind, so fake and contrived, and you come up with these things that are not really beneficial. And so, in my mind, the way that I can show service is in my little tiny world, and it happens to be in dentistry. And so, I will do free dentistry for a lot of people every year, and I'll spend thousands of dollars on people fixing their mouth and not charging them, and that's how I find joy and can serve other people.
That's real. Like,
I think that's real.
Smile, you change their bite, you take away pain, you strengthen their dental structure.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, isn't dental decay connected to heart disease and all sorts of
all of that? Yes.
Health
problems? Like, changing someone's mouth can transform their life.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how you serve. How about you, Gwen? Anything?
So
and it's okay to say I'm not there yet.
Yeah, I'm not. I guess I need to look for ways to serve, but I mostly just serve my family. So
wait, what? Your family?
I'm lame.
How is that enough? I'm
It's
kidding.
probably not, but I'll figure it out.
No, your
So,
husband, your kids, your grandkids, like
Yeah.
that's legit, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of people too. Let me
Yeah.
tell you, it's hard to keep up
That's
with
a
all
lot
of
of
them.
service. Yeah.
So.
Have you found any sort of individual awakening? Like sometimes women are like, who am I if I'm not Mormon? But others get really empowered and excited that like I've been this subjugated woman, inferior in a patriarchy. And they get sort of an
Definitely.
empowerment.
Yeah,
Have you experienced an
definitely
empowerment?
feel that. And like, if I felt this way when I was, 20 years old, my life wouldn't look like it does now. But it's not healthy to look at life like that, like looking back and looking at regrets. I'd like to look back with like gratitude because I do love my life now. But yeah, I feel that like, how can I, so I have a lot to figure out in my life. Who do I want to be? Who am I kind of thing.
Does it feel empowering?
It does definitely feel empowering to shed the patriarchy. I love that. And I didn't realize that it was like suppressing me. Like I was not a feminist, but like I feel that now, to want to just like tell the whole world like, yeah, I'm, I can do whatever I want. So
And Jared, is it scary to go from kind of a one-up relationship to where you're now equal, and instead of her kind of being a step down, she's feeling more empowered? Some men are scared by that or threatened.
No, I'm not scared at all. I appreciate that in her, and I hope she just keeps going forward and exploring and figuring out who she is.
And he's never been one that's like, I'm presiding over you. I'm the head of the house. Like that's never
That's
been the
not
way.
his style.
So
All right. Well, I think we've covered a lot of it. What do you guys think?
I think people are probably sick of hearing this.
No, I think there's. Let's do this. Let's give each of you a chance to give just your final perspective on what's going on advice for people. Like Madison, there's a lot. I hope a lot of parents have their kids watch this. Maybe there's 12-year-olds or 15-year-olds or 18-year-olds or 21-year-olds out there that are like really scared. They're right at the beginning of this. Their parents are going through it or they're going through it. I would love each of you to give advice to whatever advice or perspective or encouragement to whatever population you feel kind of your heart tied to. Last words of advice, perspective. What would you want to say to that 15-year-old girl or 16-year-old girl or 18-year-old boy or whatever, if they're like really in that scared, dark place right now?
I just like to say that, like, I feel for them and that they are really going through something hard. Like, a lot of the time I would just look at my parents and just, like, see how hard it was for them and not, I guess, focus on me and how it was hard for me too. And just, it is a hard thing to go through, but it's a good thing, and you can come out a better person and come out just living the life that you really want to live. And that is a scary thing to have to figure out, but it's also a beautiful thing that you can just figure out exactly what you want to do with your life and make the best of it.
So hang in there and it gets better. It gets awesome.
Yeah, it gets awesome.
Okay. Well, I'm so grateful, Madison, that you're willing to. It's beautiful with just the parents, but it's like 5 times better when there's a kid.
I'm glad I could come.
Yeah, you're a huge, bright, shining light of joy and beauty and encouragement and strength and wisdom. So thank you so much for adding your perspective to the Mormon Stories Library.
Of course. Thanks for having me.
Stay in touch.
I will.
All right, Gwen, what do you want to say? No, let's give you the last word. Jared, what do you want to say to who?
I guess 2 people or 2 groups. First is those people who are experiencing a faith crisis, to know that it's difficult, but it's amazing. And there's so many amazing people out there that love you and that can help you and support you. And it's a wonderful, wonderful place.
It can be a gift, right? I'm not exaggerating that.
It's a gift. It is so much a gift. And I can't even explain how wonderful it is to, like I've said before, just have your mind completely open to think whatever it is, to think however you want, and not have, the church telling you every movement and every thought that you should have. So it's amazing. And there's so many resources and so many people out there to help you through it.
Some of the most important resources.
Mormon Stories Podcast.
Okay. else?
I think Bill Reel. I think, all there's just so many. The Gospel Topics Essays.
Mormon Think, CES letter.
Yeah.
Okay. Just
So-
whatever's been meaningful to you. I want to make sure people hear about it.
Yeah.
Marriage on a Tightrope for people who are
Lindsay
in straight
Hansen
marriages.
Park, I think, is amazing.
Your Polygamy podcast.
Yes. So there's so much information out there, and just know that you don't have to do it alone.
What about support communities? You mentioned the Mormon Stories Podcast group on Facebook. Anyone can join that anytime.
Yeah.
What else? Any other groups?
There's there's Reddit. We're not members
The
of
Ex-Mormon
that.
Reddit.
Yeah.
That's a great
There's
support.
Thoughtful Transitions.
Mormon Enlightenment.
Mormon Enlightenment. Those are the ones we're
Those are
members
great.
of.
Okay,
Yeah.
good.
The other group I would like to say is just the actual active members of the church. To somehow, I wish that the culture in the church could change a little bit to where when people do have faith crisis and when family members leave and people that you love leave the church and lose their testimonies of the church, that you can still figure out a way to love them and completely accept them unconditionally and talk to them and be comfortable discussing hard issues with them. And that doesn't mean that you're going to be persuaded one way or another, but have the confidence and the love that you can do that and just accept us for who we are, because we're no different than we were before.
What about to the non-believing family member that's got all these believing family members and they're feeling alone or misunderstood or
I think to just have patience and not try to force things and just love. I think it's just, you have to love, and you can't make it a contentious place in a contentious environment, because that will never work. You have to show love and respect for both sides, and if you do that, then both sides will come together quicker.
And that's the irony. Is this is a little coaching moment. Love gets you what you want in the end, or at least gives you a better shot at getting what you want in the end, which is love and even unity. You're going to get that not through anger, not through bitterness, not through pushing, not through tension. You're going to get it through compassion and love faster than any other way. So love is not only the right thing, it's the smart thing. Mm-hmm. So be loving.
Yep.
Anything else? All right, you're awesome, Jared. All right, Gwen, you're the woman. You get the last word because we're feminists here. We're
That's
empowered.
right. We are empowered now. I tell people all the time I'm a strong, independent woman.
So I give her a hard time with that, and I tell her that she's a strong, independent woman, and when I want her to do something, then that's what I use on her.
No, I just think that life is beautiful. It is very freeing to be able to figure out like who you are and what's really important to you in your life, what you really believe, and just to, I don't know, there's just no restrictions. Simple things like, do you want a tattoo on your body? Do you want a third or fourth or fifth earring? I mean, there's just little things that it's just, I don't know. It's just been beautiful, and we've, yeah. I don't know what else to say. I feel like I've been
Are you
talking
happier?
nonstop.
Are you happier?
I was always happy. I was happy being a Mormon, but I feel like this life is happier. It is a happier life.
More joyful?
Yeah, it's just more, I don't know, there's just not the checklist of things, and there's no more guilt. And, every week as I partake of the sacrament, sitting reflecting on my life of, how did I fall short? How can I become better? There's no more of that. There's just like living in the moment and just, just, I don't know. It's just good. It's just beautiful and free.
Do you feel like you're a better parent now?
I think so, because before, we had a son who didn't want to go on a mission. And that was devastating to me. And I was so disappointed in him. And I feel like now if I could go backwards, I would be a lot more kind to him and a lot more loving and really listen to him and what he was feeling and what he was experiencing, instead of just demanding that he just change his mind. And he did change his mind, and he did go. But it's,
Is he still a believer now?
he is.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's a good boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do, because I feel like I love without expectations. You don't have to, You don't have to be a returned missionary. You don't have to go to the temple every week. There's just, there's just no expectations. You just be you, and I'm going to love you for who you are.
And that's my definition of a great parent, is it begins with unconditional love. So we come back to that again. Really quick, your advice to the believing spouse / wife / family member who, because you lived that for a long time.
For a couple years.
How do you want to summarize just your advice or your plea? Because some are going to discredit you because you no longer believe.
That's true.
But you've been there.
Yes.
And for if you really put yourself in wanting the best for these believers, what's your plea to them for their own best interests? What would you say to them?
I would say, I don't know. I guess it depends on your relationship, but like for me, my relationship was good and it was solid and it was the most important thing to me in my life. And so that came first. And once I got the security, and maybe just even the awakening of how much like his faith crisis was hurting him, and to actually like I promised to be there with him like through thick and thin, and I felt like I was falling short of that. And so if you can, I mean, you do need some boundaries, but you also need to support, to be loving and supporting, and you can do that without changing yourself. Let them make their own choices. We don't need to control them. I guess that's probably the biggest thing, is let them have their journey and not try to control them, and still be able to love them no matter what.
It's hard to put people over religion sometimes, though, right?
It is hard, and especially when it's tied to your afterlife. Like, what happens if like he never comes back, and I get to the celestial kingdom and he's not there?
Yeah. What about that?
There's so much fear in that, and I don't, and that's where it gets really hard, and where you want to control them and make them get to the celestial kingdom with you, but it doesn't work that way. So, and that's not even God's plan, right? That we're taught that that's Satan's plan. So I don't know. It's just a tricky place to get to that part where you're okay with them making a choice, and I guess just get to the ground where, I don't know, you let them live their life and you keep your covenants as however you can. And you just have to be able to live your life to where you sleep at night, that you don't feel guilty for what you're doing or whatever. So did you ever reach the point as a believer where you developed a different idea about the afterlife, that maybe it wasn't going to be as punitive or as dividing as we thought? Did you ever, as a believer, kind of become more flexible in your theology, kind of like God's not going to keep us apart? I kind of did. I just felt like, what, if he was deceived by the internet, like God's going to be, he's going to be kind. Like he's perfect. He's loving. God.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so he's going to he's going to cut him some slack. And I mean, I don't know. Mormonism is kind of weird, where there's this thought of progression, and so maybe there's something that he'll have to do when we get to the other side, but eventually he'll get there. I don't know. I think you have to play those gymnastics to kind of like, to be able to sleep and to not be so sad about, thinking about your afterlife without your...
It's the famous Mormon catch-all. God will make it right in the end.
Yes, and so that's what you have to. That's how you can find peace. Yeah,
that's good, right?
We need peace in our lives.
No loving. This is what I concluded. No loving God's going to keep a loving family apart.
Yes.
Period.
And I still believe that.
What kind of God would?
Even as an ex-Mormon, like, do I believe that you need a temple ceiling to keep a family together? Probably not.
Yeah.
But, if God really loves us.
But God's like, nope, sorry, this family's breaking up. They didn't make the right level.
Yep.
They didn't have the right little ordinance thingy. The paperwork wasn't certified. You guys are in different corners of heaven and you can't see each other.
Yeah, I don't
anymore. No families together.
Yeah, I don't believe that that's how. If God really is, who Mormon teaches he is, then
that's not a God.
Yeah. So.
All right. Anything else you guys want to say? You guys are lovely.
Oh,
thank you.
Courageous and fun and wise and positive. And I just see light shining in all your eyes.
Not the darkness.
I think that's the reflecting lamp, but it still looks real. It looks real. No, you guys are lovely. Thanks for taking the drive. Thanks for standing for truth. Thanks for taking a hit. Thanks for paying it forward. And we're going to be there for you and with you next week.
Thank you. We appreciate this opportunity to tell our story. And
I
thank you.
appreciate all the work you do and all of the people you've interviewed, because all of those people are different, but they're the same. And I love every one of them, and it's helped me so much.
It did. That's really what helped me through the depths of despair, seeing these people that had been there with me and they're okay and they're happy.
Yeah.
Gives you hope.
They sure are.
So.
Please email them. And if this episode meant a lot to you, I know that with the Youngs and with the Hackings and all the other couples, just hearing from people when these episodes mean a lot to them, please let Madison, and if she's touched you in some way, please communicate to these good people how much their stories meant to you. I know that means a lot. Let them know how grateful you are. And thanks to everyone who joined us today and tuned in on Facebook Live. It was great to have your comments and feedback and suggestions. Thanks to the Hankies and Boston and Heber. We're coming after you next. And thanks to all. If you have an amazing story, if you're a former church leader or human, if you're being threatened with a disciplinary council, or if you're a wonderful 16 or 18-year-old, or if you've got a story that you want to share, we'd love to have you on Mormon Stories if we can. We just want to keep highlighting this stuff. If you're a Mormon church leader, stop excommunicating wonderful families. Stop protecting sexual predators at the expense of victims. Stop these barbaric disciplinary councils. I've heard actually that the church is in the process of altering the disciplinary council process. Of course, they'll just call that revelation, but we know that we're making them hurt for doing this. But we hope they stop and just start loving and accepting people and allowing free speech and free thought and free expression. You'll come off less as a jerk. You'll be doing the right thing, and you'll be causing less self-inflicted pain. Thanks to everyone who supports the Open Stories Foundation and Mormon Stories Podcast. We couldn't do it without your donations. If you don't support us, please consider a monthly donation, $10, $50, $100 a month, whatever you can afford. Your donations are tax deductible. We're transparent in our finances, and it'll all go towards helping other people. Huge thanks to Jeffrey Spock for doing the audio video for today's live production. And of course, always to Cody Layton, who's going to do the post-production. And thanks to everyone who is encouraging. And again, just thanks to you guys. You're awesome. And should we go to the bathroom?
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Should we have lunch now that it's 4:08 p.m.? Are you hungry?
A little.
Do you want some food? All right. We love you guys. Thank you so much. Take care, everybody.
Thanks.
Thanks.
We'll see you again soon for another episode of Mormon Stories Podcast.